Some lore corner real fast, just what we've got coming up. We have been pushed back a tiny bit in our, I guess, not pursuit, but in our coverage of what's going to happen here. This week we're going to talk Ana. I'll look at the time here in a minute. We're going to try and get through Elsie as well. We need to talk about the Clovis Bray Corp at some point. Cover Vance, cover the Trials, Rasputin, Drifter, and Saint 14, all before Beyond Light. We may have a little bit of wiggle room towards the end, but that right now is the current objective, is to get through all these people. And of course, we already covered Eris earlier in the season. So, with that said, Ana Bray. Ana is, I think, out of any of the planetary vendors in either game, really, she is. Well, I guess there weren't planetary vendors in Destiny 1, so I take that back. But out of the NPCs, I think she's one of the more beloved in the community. She's really mysterious. Ana is someone she's not the true daughter of Clovis Bray. She was adopted by them. And she's one of the very few people who knows about her life before she was a guardian, and as a result, we know about her life. When she was a child, she actually worked on or not as a child, but when she was younger in her previous life, she worked on Rasputin as a psycholinguist that taught him independent thought. She basically helped develop his AI, which is really, really cool. Rasputin began to develop nuances in his language, you could say. Taught him literature, taught about music, philosophy, and stuff. But she also didn't teach him the concept of trust, which is really depressing. Of course, at some point, she does die. She comes back. She's revived by her ghost. She learned of her past because of the ID card that was on her and other materials with her. She was mentored by the legendary hunter Andal Brask, one of the best friends of Kate Six, and she was in a fire team, but she lost her entire team. So a lot like Eris, her entire fire team also died. She was part of the Battle of Six Fronts. She was famously part of the fire team that drove people back. She was part of Shax's team there, who chose to just charge. Instead of heeding the advice to fall back from Zavala, her and Shax and a few others charged forward. She became a legend, and she decides to leave shortly after that. She doesn't feel like she's at home, honestly. She heads out and tries to seek knowledge about the Clovis Bray Corp and whatnot. Zavala did not like this. Learning about your past life is taboo amongst them. Not Six Fronts. So she participates in Six Fronts. Twilight Gap is what I'm thinking of. She participates in Twilight Gap, and everybody assumes that she dies. She uses that to kind of cover her tracks and take off. She eventually heads out to Mars, of course. She heads out, and we encounter her. We encounter her there when she's looking for Rasputin and for the Warmind.
Is this where the Warmind DLC starts? Like that, where she's kind of like, you see her in the snow or whatever, and it just.
Yeah, we're there. There's a little bit of stuff that actually happens during the Red War. Her ghost detects Zavala's call to rally on Titan. Ana chooses to ignore it. She says no, and then she gets caught in the snowstorm, of course. And that's when we get the intro to the entire DLC. So Ana's past is still pretty shrouded in mystery. We've gotten some sort of indication that we may get that continued. Ana, of course, for those who have completed the Traveler's Chosen quest line, she is the one of the 4 planetary vendors that actually to come to the tower. And she hesitates. She doesn't want to come back to the tower because she doesn't want to be the Hunter Vanguard. All indications are that she will eventually take on that role, although personally I think that the lore for the Exodus questline hints that still popular fan theory is in effect that it'll end up being Uldren eventually. I would not be shocked to see it be Ana first, though. While we're talking about the Exodus questline, though, she does decide to leave finally, and she has found that Rasputin actually survived the Darkness's attack that we see at the very beginning in the opening cutscene of this season. She is able to download Rasputin's data fragments into a primitive exo body. So she is also bringing Rasputin with her to the tower. We are essentially getting Fellwinter 2.0. This was data mined last season. A lot of people found a Fellwinter character model in the game. It was later found to be the hologram that you encounter in the Fellwinter's Lie quest. But also, hey, that was kind of clever because now, hey, he's coming for real. It's in one of the very first exo bodies. I suspect her to have something to do with the Deepstone Crypt pursuit and storyline in Beyond Light. And I think that's when we're going to get the... that was my phone going off, sorry. I did not mute my phone. That is the confirmation, I think, that her and Elsie are going to finally cross paths. So speaking of Elsie, we're gonna shift away from Ana real quickly here, and we're gonna go to Elsie Bray. So one of the most prevailing fan theories in the Destiny community is that the Exo Stranger is actually Ana's long lost sister Elsie. It's been kind of hinted at before in various little nuggets. I didn't really subscribe to this theory until, of course, Fife did a video on it. But some of Elsie's history, Elsie and her sister Ana built a Sparrow when they were kids, when they were 13. It would later become a full-on production model, which I do personally believe is going to maybe be her the Sparrow that you get in Beyond Light that we were just talking about, actually.
The Stranger Sparrow?
Yeah, I think it may end up being the Stranger Sparrow. Who knows? I'm probably completely wrong on it. And then she designed a couple of ships for Clovis Bray, including the Shadow Trespass ship, which it's an exotic one. It looks kind of like poop. But it was available during the Warmind expansion from Eververse. They also had a third sister. They all worked at the Futurescape on Mars. Her sister worked Elsie worked on research and development, as well as on the snow armor. Of course, she kind of kept an eye over Ana working on the Ikelos. No, not the Ikelos scout rifle. The what do you call it? I'm blanking out right now, but it's the exotic scout that you can get from Ana. Polaris Lance. She looks at it. Of course, she's pleased with what she's seeing. Elsie was kind of behind the test nodes that we go and find. And she helped develop the Worldline Zero exotic sword, and it allowed her to see visions of the future. She actually saw the collapse and the darkness during this, and she disappears a couple of days after she sees it. She wipes out her research before she flees. She hides the sword within a cache, and then she leaves a message to Ana apologizing. At that point, she completely disappears, and we lose all records of Elsie Bray. The Exo Stranger, however, we're not going to relitigate this, but of course we know that she shows up a handful of times in the original Vanilla Destiny 1 campaign, and that's the only time that we ever saw her. She is, of course, front and center in Beyond Light. She is on the cover art for it. We don't exactly know the Stranger's purpose yet, only that she has been in contact with and the Drifter before, as indicated in the trailer when she says, "This is what I brought you here to show you." So kind of an overview of this. She She works for an unknown faction, of course. We don't know who she's talking about, but she is able to travel through time. She says, I keep coming back to this point, basically, when she meets the Guardian. Like, I keep coming back to this. And when she first encounters us, she's talking through her mic, and she says, kill the engine, kill the engines, kill the thrusters, I'm on my way. She, her gun, No Time to Explain, which eventually becomes an exotic, it's going to be an exotic in Beyond Light, and I believe it was turned into one in Destiny 1 as well. Is made, see, that shows you the amount of times that I used that gun, which was never.
I actually used it quite a bit, to be honest with you. I mean,
really?
I mean, it was at a time where, like, my friends were starting to fall off Destiny, but I was still playing it pretty regularly, and I was, playing around with, obviously, Galahorn and some of the other exotics that they brought back from Year 1, and just going through the Siva stuff, and I actually really liked No Time to Explain. It's probably one of my favorite pulse rifles, to be honest with you. Just the way it feels. I don't really remember what the perks were or anything. I liked the way it felt, and I used it a lot. So...
of course, she keeps going back through time, jumping back through. She sees she's trying to stop the Vex and the Black Heart, is what she's doing on the moon originally. When she becomes interested in the Guardian, when she becomes interested in the Young Wolf, she eventually finds the Guardian, whose ghost mentions Venus, and she believes us to be the one. She follows the ghost to the Cosmodrome. Of course, we see her in the opening mission watching us fly off out of the Cosmodrome. And she thinks that we're the one. She thinks we're the one. She gives us her gun, of course, at the end of the vanilla campaign, and then she just disappears without a trace. We don't see her ever again. But 6 years later, because canonically each expansion is and seasons are over the course of a year, she's on Europa. Of course, she's aligned with the Drifter and Eris. It is kind of bonkers, honestly. Don't really know what she is doing here necessarily. I do really, 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 really hope that we eventually get to find out that she is for sure Elsie. This is probably the biggest fan theory that has circulated, and it's circulated since Warmind. That's really when this started picking up steam. And it's just kind of like latched on. Like, at this point, even if it ended up not being true, I think that, it basically is Rasputin. She encounters Rasputin at one point, and he recognizes her, but she doesn't understand. I am very curious to see. Like, let this play out. Ana, of course, one of the beloved NPCs. The Stranger was one of those things that everybody just kind of laughed and made fun of. Like, I have no time to explain why I don't have time to explain became, something of a meme across the internet with Destiny 1.
That's putting it lightly.
It's putting it lightly. But with her and we're all assuming now that Uldren is back in the Cosmodrome. As his symbol is the symbol for the Cosmodrome, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It looks like they're really trying to rectify the mistakes made with Destiny 1 and with the initial canceling of Joseph Staten's story.
Yeah.
We know that Uldren was supposed to be the Crow originally and was supposed to be much more in line with Cade 6 in terms of his humor.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's just kind of a short, sweet lore corner right now. I like this. And Luke Smith has confirmed that her companion that we see in the trailers is not a ghost. But we will find out what it is.
Do you think there's
very curious?
Do you think there's like a darkness equivalent to a ghost?
Yes. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is I think that eventually that's going to be revealed. I think that is the equivalent. I think the ghost can upload himself into it. Frankly,
what if Europa ends up being not a moon, but the darkness version of the Traveler. Whoa. No, I don't think that's happening, but that would be cool.
No, Europa is an actual planet, so yeah, I don't know, but I do think that there is plenty of stuff here that they aren't telling us yet. Obviously, I really hope that a lot of this expansion has been left secret, and with the reintroduction of the Stranger, it makes sense that they would be extremely tight-lipped about it.
Yeah,
I do think we're rapidly getting to the close of Eris's story, however.
Yeah.
I feel like Eris's story is going to come to a close probably within this next year.
Like her whole story? Like, you don't...
I think her whole story. Eris has been front and center for the Dark Below, the Taken King, Shadowkeep, and now will play a major part in Beyond Light, as well as the Season of Arrivals. No other NPC has ever played that much in the game. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's kind of clear that if they do keep her, she's going to be part of a separate Vanguard that will include herself, the Stranger, and the Drifter. Mm-hmm. So I do kind of wonder if that's going to happen. I think it's pretty clear that the Stranger is going to end up being the vendor on Europa. That's my personal belief, at least. It would keep her in the story. Mm-hmm. And I think she's going to be pretty important to the evolving storyline that we see in the seasons this year. I think that would be kind of a no-brainer. The only other person I think that could kind of fill that role would be if Mara comes back. Yeah. Just surprisingly, which we can't rule it out. The last time we had a big expansion like this, we are getting 2 zones, I guess. We are getting Europa and the Cosmodrome. If Uldren comes back, I expect Mara to show up at some point.
Oh yeah.
So.
You don't think Varix could be a vendor?
See, I believed for a long time that Varix could be in it. It's very possible. In fact, I'd say it's probably more likely that he's the vendor.
Especially if the Stranger is like going to be a major part of this story. You don't want her just standing on the planet and then just randomly pop up in cutscenes, I feel like.
Yeah, I would prefer to avoid another Eris situation.
Yeah.
Which is what we had in Shadowkeep, where she just like popped up, or hey, you have to return to her. Like maybe we won't have to return to the Stranger every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I hope that's a signal of some better storytelling in that regard. They've always been great on the cutscenes and the visuals, but also, we need that to reflect the reality a little bit more.
Yeah. Also, I could almost see there's probably going to be some sort of social space on Europa, right? And if we're learning how to wield the darkness, don't you think like it would make sense for the Drifter, the Stranger, and Eris to be vendors there instead of kind of like if they're forming their own version of like the Darkness Vanguard, wouldn't it make sense to have them all together, kind of?
So I've been doing a fair amount of thinking about this. I do not think that Eris will be there because this is part of the problem. Eris is the planetary vendor on the moon.
On the moon, right.
Mm-hmm. Unless you drop somebody else on the moon, which, I mean, it's entirely possible. You could just throw somebody else there. I don't know.
Yeah, but if Shadowkeep's staying as an expansion to play through, probably
she kind of has to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do suspect that the Drifter is going to move out there. And just like leave his creepy voicemail machine or something at the tower.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think if you move Drifter out there, and you could move Eris out there, of course, and just let us pick up bounties from orbit. And I mean, hey, you could. I mean, it's space magic. We'll let her be in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
Who cares? Because canonically, Shadowkeep takes place a year before Beyond Light. There's some wacky things you could do there, I'm sure.
I mean, there's no rules to say that Eris couldn't be both places either, right? I mean,
right. I do think that you're going to see something weird like that. I think the Drifter is going to be there, though. We've gotten indications that kind of looks like in some of the promo images that is camping out there. Mm-hmm. It certainly looks like it. Like he's flown the haul out there. So
yeah,
just really kind of curious to see what happens. I do think, like I said in the show, I think that they're keeping a lot of secrets, and one of the cool things to keep a secret, I think, would be a social space, even if it's just a big area where we're all spawning into, a la the moon.
Yeah, I mean they kept the tower a secret, right?
They did. They did. We had no indication that the tower was coming back. We were on the farm forever.
Yeah.
So it is entirely possible that there is a social space. It is entirely possible that there's a third space after this. That since, Cosmodrome is technically reintroduced content, there is always the possibility that there is a dreaming city waiting for us.
Yeah.
Maybe this is when we go to the distributary. Who knows?
Yeah.
So especially if Mara's going to come back, I think that something like that is going to have to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But I also think... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I could see the if Aldrin is the vendor and he plays some sort of role in the story, I could see Mara coming back and the reef kind of reappearing, or like a version of the reef.
I would love that, and like maybe next year or something, Varix goes back to the reef.
Mm-hmm.
Like Varix becomes the vendor there or something. I think that'd be really cool. Mara takes her place up in the Dreaming City once we free it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities you can do here that I'd really like to see. So lots of exciting things coming, lots of speculation happening. But that's going to do it for Lore Corner and the speculation zone.
Yeah. Man, I'm just really excited to play Beyond Light. Honestly, probably for most of the show, I've been staring at this Stranger statue on Amazon, debating whether or not I should get this or that, or the memory card and another controller.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing where I know that as soon as I buy it, it's going to go down $10 on Amazon before it gets hiked up in price because they're going to stop selling it. But I kind of want to pull the trigger on it because it looks cool. It's
great. I really like it. Mine came on Tuesday, and I am just a massive fan of it.
I wish they had more things like this. Like more collectible characters from Destiny, right? Like I have the Shax, and the Saladin figures, but I want more of like something like this. Like I would want one of like all the Vanguard characters. I would want one of Saint 14. I would want one of Saladin and Shax. Like I would like them to do this, but I don't know how feasible that is for people who like how many people are actually that into the characters of this game to have them. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I feel like things like this might end up being exclusive to the Bungie store.
Yeah,
eventually.
They had a Cade one, right? They had a Cade one.
The Cade one was really crappy, though. I have the Cade one. It's Cade's Last Stand, and it's very flimsy. It's not like this one. This one actually is like built really good and really detailed, especially for the price. So I got it on sale. I got it for $50. I ordered it right away when it went up on Amazon. I was initially really upset because it looked like you were only going to be able to get it with a Steam code. Like, well, that kind of sucks. Like, if they ever did an Xbox version, so I was like, well, if they do an Xbox version, I'm ordering this instead of getting the actual Bungie Collector's Edition. I don't need another duffel bag or backpack or water bottle or anything at this point, and I don't want to spend that for a Shard of Darkness.
Yeah.
This though, $60, $50-$60, whatever I paid for it, cool. And then I've got Beyond Light on top of that. I'm basically paying like $130 for a collector's edition.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it. As long as I'm not buying a statue every year. Like if they start making really cool ones, I'm gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
For right now, I really like this.
Yeah, I mean those what are they? The 3A figures of the Titan Hunter Warlock figures that are like
the $200 ones.
Yeah, like I would much rather have like the characters from the story as those instead of like, you know what I mean? Because like I think the whole appeal of though like a Hunter Warlock Titan character is that you get to make your own, right, and decide what your character looks like. And these pre-designed ones are like, yeah, it'd be cool to have, but that's not my Titan, Whereas like Zavala is already established, Ikora is already established, Cade, Saint 14, even like an Osiris one would be really cool looking. Like I would rather have a nice statue of those.
Yeah. I'd like to see some of the denizens of the tower, really, some of our close allies. I mean, because like, if you took a random poll, people would want, of course, Zavala, Shax, Saladin, Ikora. They'd want a proper Cade one. I imagine there'd be some who would be like, "Hey, can we reach back to Destiny 1 and do the Stranger, do Eris?"
Yeah.
I would absolutely buy a Drifter with that rebreather mask on from Beyond Light.
Yeah.
I would absolutely get a Drifter.
I think any of the main characters I would probably buy. Like, there's probably
I would consider Mara or Uldren. Maybe even dude, if they did the spider sitting on his throne, like I'd have to get the spider.
Dude, that would be like a $300 statue, but just of Spider, just like sitting there, like on his throne, just leaning back like this. You know,
I'd like him to be back there, but like have like a dead ghost in his fingers or something.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. Like,
I mean, hell, you could even do some of like the raid bosses, maybe. Like, I would never buy a Galaran, but like Callus sitting in his chair.
I think an Oryx one would be cool.
Dude, an Oryx so I have a Crota Pop sitting on my shelf. Or it was sitting on my shelf. I bought some of the Funkos when they came out because I felt like that was the closest I was ever going to get to it. Yeah. I have the glow-in-the-dark Crota. I have Atheon, Zur. I
mean, even Zur would be cool.
Dude, I would love a Zur, just like with all his tentacles on his face. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Like my biggest thing, the thing that I'm the proudest of collecting in my entire life, I have every single Disney Infinity character ever made except for the $300 unreleased Peter Pan. And like, if they just made a nice line of Destiny figures like this Stranger statue, like, I would buy them all. I would too. It would become a problem really quickly. Oh yeah, I would have to sell a bunch more stuff to get them, but I would definitely, if they release like a new one every 3 months, instead, like, if it was between one of these statues and like a game I was on the fence of getting, right, like, it would definitely be one of these statues I would go for. Man, I could think of like 15 characters I would want right now. Like, you could do like a whole Iron Lord set. Yeah, I think when you like that, it's you have to do things that will for sure turn a profit. And I mean, like, off the top of my head, there's 6 characters that would, and that's of course the 3 Titans, Ikora, Drifter, and I would say probably Cade. Well, not probably, Cade absolutely would sell. And then after that, I think you could do like another wave, like do an Uldren, do a Mara. Mara would absolutely sell. Spider. Spider's like a big deluxe one. Maybe Mithrax or Varix once we've done a little bit more with them. Gosh, if I could just have a Varix statue sitting on my desk. Give me a Sepix Prime Nightlight. That'd be cool. That'd be so cool. Or like a Traveler ball. You know that Xbox light that's just like the orb with the X in it? Like, give me a Traveler one too. Dude, like, I would buy so much needless crap if they started doing this. Yeah. I'd be a little disgusted. Like, I really like the little weapon replicas that they were doing on Bungie Rewards there for a while for some of the exotic quests. Yeah. But they were so flimsy and breaking. I was like, I don't want to spend $100 on this for it to break. But I would have absolutely bought one of Outbreak Perfected. Yeah, like, I have the McFarlane Titan character, and like, I loved it because it had the Helm of Saint 14, it had the Vault of Glass armor, it was the shader that I used. I was like, man, this is awesome. It came with Hung Jury and Gallarhorn, and I was like, oh man, this is the greatest thing of all time. And I open it and it's a piece of junk, and I'm like, oh man, I'm just so disappointed in this. Yeah, I really would like to see some, like, I like the 3-0 figure I'm looking at right now with the Mercury of X-Chrome on it, and I love it so much because I really like the guns that are with it. But Jesus, man, I can't justify spending $200 on this. That's really difficult for me. I do like that it includes the Arc Staff. It has the Last City shell, Uriel's Gift Sins of the Past, Curtain Call. Just, man, it's cool, but there's nothing in this world that would get me to spend $200 on that.
Now, if it was a custom printing of my Guardian,
Yeah.
I would spend $200 on that.
Oh yeah. There was one. There was a
I would
Titan.
absolutely get it with the Nova Cloak.
There was a Titan that came out for Destiny 1 from the 3A figure. With the Hanged Man shader on it, and it came with Thunderlord, I think.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And that was the closest I came to getting one of these 3A figures. But I was like,
they are so cool. They are super detailed. I can't justify dropping that kind of cash.
Yeah, and it was a Sunbreaker Titan too. So he comes with a hammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think he comes with Last Word also. Let's see, it's Thunderlord, and I think it's Last Word and hammers. So, which was the closest I've ever come, but it's really expensive now because it was a Destiny 1 Titan. So, yeah, it's like 300. It's like 300.
It's beyond
bucks.
our reach now.
Yeah, it's beyond light, as they say.